Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to give 1 or 2 seconds just so everyone's able to join in today's session, and then I will get us started for today. Really quickly, while we are waiting, I do want to mention you will see this QR code on our screen. We do have a really great group of admissions counselors here at Gies Online. So if you do have any questions, if you'd like to get an appointment set up with one person on our team, feel free to scan this QR code just while we're waiting for everyone to join in today's session. All right, perfect. I think I'll get us started for today. So thank you all so much for joining again. My name is Roxana Madani. I'm a coordinator for recruiting and admissions here at Geese Online. I work mainly on our recruiting team, so you've probably seen my name in some of the emails that we've been sending you. If you're here for our online iMSM, our Master of Science in Management program, you are in the right place. We'll be spending the full hour today just going through our iMSM program. I'm also very excited to be joined by a current student in the iMSM program, a very soon graduate of our program. Melissa, can you really quickly just share a little bit more about yourself, your background, and why you chose to pursue a graduate degree with Geese Online?
Yeah, sure. It's nice to see you all here today. My name is Melissa. I'm in my final semester of the iMSM program. I decided to do this program almost 20 years into my career, where I had been working as a vice president at a healthcare company and was really interested in going deeper into the aspect of business management, leadership, things that I was experiencing day to day, but wanted more formal grounding on. And I'm sure we'll talk throughout the seminar about how that might work. And I'm happy to chat more about that. But that was my initial reason for choosing this program.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining. You will all hear a lot more about Melissa's experiences during the session. And I will mention if you have any questions for her just during the session, feel free to type that into the Q&A feature of today's webinar. You should see it at the very bottom of your screen. And you will see in the chat, my colleague Jamie is on as well. She'll just be putting some of our links to our website during the session, few different things that we'll be touching on. So feel free to scan through our website as well in case if you have any questions during the session. And then again, I really quickly want to mention you will see this QR code on our screen. So again, if you want to get an appointment with someone on our team just to discuss your options a little bit further, feel free to scan that. I will also have it towards the very end of the presentation as well. And then really quickly, before I go through our agenda, I do want to see where everyone's joining us in from. So we do have global programs with Geese Online. You will see learners from all over the world joining in, and these webinars that we host are very similar to the live sessions of our Geese Online programs. So we do like to see where everyone's joining in from. I'm currently in the Champaign area, so Central Illinois. Melissa, did you share where you're joining from?
I'm usually based in Seattle, but right now I'm doing a temporary stay in South America. So that's where I'm calling in from today.
Well, you can very clearly see the global perspectives of our program just from this webinar, and hopefully you all be including that in the chat as well, just where you're joining in from. And then I'll really quickly go through the agenda for today. So you will see we kind of already got through introductions at the start. I am going to really quickly go over the University of Illinois as well as Gies College of Business, and then we'll really focus in on Gies Business online programs. I will touch on the unique stackable options with our credentials, as well as the online by design format. And then we'll really dive into the iMSM program. We'll discuss the curriculum and the content. We'll go through networking opportunities as well as learner support for our students. And then finally, I will run through the entire application process, the requirements to apply to the iMSM program. And then hopefully at the very end, we'll have a little bit of time for questions. In case if we don't get to questions at the very end, you can definitely use that Q&A feature. Jamie is going to be in the chat just answering any questions you have during the session. And then again, if we have a few questions remaining towards the end, we'll probably be able to answer that. And I will have that QR code up in case if you want to ask further questions after the session as well. So just to really quickly touch on the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, we are a land-grant institution that's very committed to being a public research institution with global impact through the education that we offer. Located here in central Illinois, there's approximately 37,000 undergraduate students and then 22,000 graduate students. And then a few quick stats that you'll see about the university. Our faculty and our alumni have earned 29 Pulitzer Prizes. This really just reflects the excellence in the impact of the Illinois community. We are also ranked the number 12 public university in the nation by US News and World Report. We're also a top 5 university for National Science Foundation funded research. And then finally, our university has one of the largest alumni organizations with over 500,000 alumni to keep you in touch once you graduate from the university. Focusing a little bit more on Gies Business, a few stats about the college. We are the #1 biggest business school innovation of the decade. This was announced by Poets and Quants way back in 2020. We are also the #1 accountancy faculty. This was by BYU Accounting Faculty Research Rankings. And we're the #3 business school for graduate accounting, and this was by US News and World Report. You will see at Gies Business, you have over 95,000 alumni that you're able to make connections with once you graduate from the college and be able to network with well into the future. And we're also the 2022 MBA Program of the Year. This was also by Poets and Quants. And finally, one of our biggest achievements this year is our 10-year anniversary of the Gies iMBA program. Our very first cohort of the iMBA launched way back in January 2016. So we're very excited to celebrate the 10-year anniversary all year long. Okay, focusing a little bit more on Gies Business online programs. So our programs were really built on 3 main pillars, and you'll see those on the slide here. So flexibility, stackability, and being online by design. To go a little bit more in detail on what these really mean. So for flexibility, all of our programs are 100% online. There's no in-person commitments. You will have complete access to all of your coursework as well as the live sessions remotely. It's also very flexible with the degree planning. So you are able to choose your pace as well as your course order. And then it also has a very flexible tuition structure. So we do have the pay-as-you-go model for all of our degree programs. This really just means you're paying for the courses you're currently registered for rather than the entire program costs upfront. And then moving on to stackability, our credentials really have very accessible learning with flexible entry and exit points. You can choose to take a single course or a graduate certificate for upskilling. You can stack courses into a graduate certificate or a full master's degree. And I will touch a lot more on the stackability of our credentials in the next slide. And then finally, online by design. So our programs were really designed from the ground up to ensure that we're providing an engaging and interactive online experience. So you will see that all of the courses at Gies Online, they really leverage the best practices within online education just to make sure that we're providing that learner-centric approach. Okay, touching a little bit more on the stackable build approach, the Gies Learner Journey really offers a very flexible and comprehensive suite of educational options to choose from. You can choose to go through this entire Gies Learner Journey. You can get started from a foundational Coursera MOOC or massive open online course through the Coursera platform. You can then choose to take a single 4-credit course at Gies, stack that into a graduate certificate program, and even further stack it into a master's degree. Or you can choose to get started from one of those credentials in between and go from there. And I will mention, just because we're focusing a lot on the iMSM program, you can even stack from either the iMSM or the iMSA into the iMBA program. So let's start with the iMSM. If you get started in this program, complete the full degree, and then want to complete the MBA, you can apply to the iMBA program. And if you're admitted, the full 36 credit hours from your completed MSM degree would stack into your iMBA upon admission. So you'd already be halfway done with the degree once you're admitted. And then similar for the iMSA, if you start in that program, complete the degree, and then apply to the iMBA and gain admission, you would have 24 credit hours from your completed MSA degree stacking into the iMBA. So about 1/3 of the way done once you're admitted into the program. And then you always have the option to come back to Gies even after earning a master's degree just to continue your learning. So whether that's in a foundational Coursera MOOC or through a graduate level course or certificate that maybe you didn't touch on during your graduate degree, the options with Gies Online are constantly evolving. Really quickly, Melissa, before I touch on the online by design format, can you touch a little bit more on why you chose the iMSM program instead of maybe going to the MBA directly? What really stuck out to you for the iMSM?
Yes. For me, it was the time commitment. I think initially I wasn't sure how I was going to feel coming back into this would be my second time going to grad school and knowing that I had a full-time job, have all of my family commitments. I really wanted to try something that felt accessible in the beginning to build my confidence. And the other reason that I chose it is because of the stackability. I knew that if I tried the smaller thing first and it worked out and it went well, I knew that that would be a signal for me that I would probably want to stack into the MBA without that full commitment up front. So, yeah, that's the main reason.
That's really an amazing point too. We'll touch a little bit more on that too with stacking once we go a little bit more in detail on the curriculum, but that was a really great point. Thank you, Melissa. So now just to touch really briefly on the online by design format. So what really sets Geese online courses apart is the way that we're able to deliver the information within our courses. You will see there's going to be two required components within each Geese online course. The first component is going to be the asynchronous component. So this is all through Coursera. You can basically think of this as your virtual textbook for the course. So within each Geese online course, there's going to be two Coursera MOOCs, or again, those massive open online courses that are embedded within a single 4-credit course. The asynchronous component is really designed for professionals that are looking for career aligned training. It really builds that foundational knowledge and skill set. And you can choose to preview the very first module of a Coursera MOOC for free. If you are looking to continue your learning, earn that digital certificate of completion through Coursera, you would have to pay a fee through their site. Or you can just get started in a single 4-credit course, a certificate, or a master's degree program with Geese Online to get the full Coursera access. Just a little bit more on the content that you're going to see within this component. You will typically see pre-recorded videos, quizzes, assignments, and then peer evaluations. And then the added high engagement or synchronous component, this is all going to be through the Illinois Canvas platform. So very similar to any university Blackboard that you would see. And this is where you're really able to build on the content from Coursera and apply it to real world scenarios. So typically the content with the synchronous component would be weekly live sessions with Geese faculty. We do host that a few times, typically 2 or 3 times within the week, usually a morning slot, an afternoon or evening slot. And then they're always recorded. So if you can't make a session or if you'd rather just rewatch that content back, you can always do so as well. Other than that, you will see individual or group assignments. There's going to be some peer discussions, peer tutoring as well, and then a few case studies. Some of our courses may have exams. And then finally, our faculty also offers virtual office hours just to basically ensure that they're providing that online support to their learners and be able to provide the understanding for the coursework. Can you, Melissa, touch a little bit more on this kind of format, how it's been for you? How have you been able to navigate both of these components and maintain that work-life balance that you're looking for?
I was worried about it at first, wondering how they would kind of play off of each other. One thing that I learned early on that was extremely helpful is that on that asynchronous component, the Coursera platform, you can work as far ahead as you would like. You do not have to do the asynchronous and synchronous in lockstep with each other. So my strategy has been when I have a day where I have a little bit of free time, I'll just continue to work ahead, even in if I know I'm taking another class next semester. I'll do a couple of videos for next semester's class to get ahead. There's no limit on how much you can work ahead. So I think that helps a lot. And it helps me to review the content a couple of times. I think that solidifies my learning as well. So it gives me a chance to do that. For the synchronous component, it's very organized. And one little tiny detail that I appreciate a lot is they make this available in an exportable calendar. So my personal calendar has all of the live sessions on there. It has all of the group project due dates, all of the assignment due dates. So whenever I go to look at my calendar for something, it's just all laid out there, setting my expectations. And I feel like that makes it much, much easier to stay on pace with what's happening.
That's very true. Just being able to have all the content in one place really helps, especially with that online format. We want to make sure that it's easy for you to be able to get to your coursework. So that's really helpful that you mentioned that. And I will mention just for the time commitment for the program. I know a lot of students have this question as well, just how much time you're committing to the program. Typically, we tell our students that you'll spend about 10 to 15 hours per week per course. It does depend on the content familiarity. So if it's very quantitative heavy or qualitative heavy, just depending on your background, it might change up that time commitment. But I have seen people say it takes less than 10 hours. Sometimes it could take a little bit more than 15. Melissa, is that a general estimated timeline that you've been using?
Totally agree. For the classes where I'm kind of already doing the thing in industry, less than 10 hours a week. For the classes where I have to dust off some like rusty knowledge that I haven't touched in a while, I may need extra time.
And that's exactly why we offer the flexible nature with the program. You can choose to take, again, one course each 8-week term that we offer, or you can pick it up to 2 courses. Typically, though, again, it's 10 to 15 per week per course. So just keep that in mind when you are degree planning for the coursework. Oh, and actually, one more thing I do want to mention for this. So we do offer, again, those asynchronous components on Coursera. You can take standalone. But if you're admitted into a 4-credit course, certificate, or degree, you are required to complete both of these components in order to earn transcriptable credit for the course. So just keep that in mind as well. And then a super quick note just about our live sessions with faculty. I know Jamie included the instructors for Gies Online in the links below, but you will see Gies College of Business is home to over 220 full-time faculty. Currently, we have over 86 faculty members just teaching within the online programs, and they really have a vast industry and research expertise. They're very committed to providing experiential hands-on learning, especially with that global perspectives focus since we are a global program. You'll also see we have 140 TAs that are helping within the courses and 76 Gies staff members that are within our teaching and learning department that really work on just the content and delivery of our course curriculums. And then just one more note, you will see typically we complete about 35 to 40 live sessions each week. And we currently have 4 current studios at BIF on campus, as well as a few others coming in our new Weimer Hall. And then a really common question that we do get from prospective learners is just what the live sessions really look like. So I do want to share this super quick video on one of our faculty members, Professor Hayden Noel. He just gave a super small glimpse of what the online lectures look like.
Hello and welcome from wherever in the world you are. One thing you'll know by now, you'd realize you are not going to be able to just sit back. Got excited.
Absolutely.
I do not believe in exams. It will be a collaborative event, something you do over time with others. And that's what we do in this class. I want you to put up your hands and tell me 2 associations from the case.
Tradition comes to mind.
Associated with a working man.
Also inexpensive and very accessible.
End my classes by saying, all of you, go out in the world and be successful.
I watched this video many times with our webinars, but I love watching it every single time. Professor Hayden Noel is one of our amazing faculty members, and he, as well as many of our other faculty members, also host mock sessions for our prospective learners. So if you are interested in actually getting a glimpse of what these live sessions look like, we do host a few of those within the year. We actually do have one coming up at the very end of April. So if you're interested, I would definitely check out our virtual events page just so you can see what that looks like. Okay, so I know we're touching on the iMSM program, but I really quickly want to touch on our graduate certificates as well. We do have 14 certificates currently within Gies Online. They're all 12 credit hours each. And then as I mentioned before, all of them are fully stackable into the iMSM program. So if you're interested in maybe starting with a smaller credential and then stacking that into the iMSM program, this is also an option. So you will see we have business certificates as well as accounting specific certificates. And then again, you can choose to stack up to one into the iMSM program. If you're looking to stack it into the iMSA, that's also a maximum of one. And then the iMBA, you can actually stack up to 2 certificates. So if you're interested in maybe starting with a smaller credential, we do offer that stackable nature as well. Okay, so now to really focus in on our iMSM program. This program really helps our learners develop confidence by expanding their communication as well as their leadership skills. Within this degree, our students are able to understand as well as be able to explain and discuss new technologies, global change, market trends, and a whole lot more. Learners will also be able to learn integrative thinking and problem solving skills across a variety of different areas, including finance, marketing, operations, and accounting. You will see the iMSM program is made up of several learner types. So we do have non-business background individuals looking to develop a leadership and management base. There are business background individuals looking to maybe pivot to include management within their skill set. And then we also have very highly technical backgrounds that are looking to really just broaden their business knowledge. But regardless of your background, you're really going to be able to learn skills that are immediately impactful on your current career and your professional path, basically down to the weekly live sessions. We do have our faculty providing project-based learning through the group projects, the different case studies that they offer within the courses, really just to be able to give you those real life scenarios within the actual content. To go a little bit more on the specifics for this degree, so the total tuition and fees is going to be $13,644. You will see this program is a total of 36 credit hours. So 24 of those credit hours are going to go towards the required core curriculum, and then you're going to have 12 credit hours remaining for elective courses. You can choose to complete the iMSM in as little as 12 months, or you can span it out to a maximum of 60 months or 5 years to finish the degree, just in case if you need to take breaks in between. I will mention, though, typically our students finish within the 1 to 2 year timeline. And then you will also see there's 5 different start terms to apply. So if you're interested, you can get started in either January or March for the spring term. You can get started in May for the summer, or August or October for the fall term. And Melissa, can you touch a little bit on your timeline to completion? You are getting through this very quickly and you're graduating very soon. How many courses did you typically take to get to your timeline to completion that you were looking for?
I took one at a time. So I have seen students taking multiple classes at the same time. I really wanted to be able to focus. And I think I am at 18 months. So and that was with taking, I had one unexpected semester where, there was like a personal life oopsie and it just wasn't going to happen. I will say Gies made it super easy for me to withdraw from my class by the required date. And guess what? I didn't do a class that semester and I picked it up when I was ready again. And I appreciated that flexibility a ton.
That's really great. And just being able to understand that you have that maximum timeline to completion, the 5 years. If you do need it, we understand life happens. Sometimes you really do need to take a break, be able to work-life balance in the way that works for you. I've seen students that start with the two courses at a time, but then want to take it down to one. So being able to have that degree planning guidance and being able to have that accessibility is really very beneficial for students, like Melissa mentioned. All right, perfect. And then just a little bit more on the class profile for the iMSM program. So you will see a little bit on just the average age and the work experience background. So typically our students are average of 34 years with about 9 years of professional work experience. You will see across all of our degree programs, the majority of our students are a bit more of a mature population, typically again with that 9 to 12 years of experience. You'll also see about 1/3 of Gies iMSM students are international learners, and we currently have 101 countries represented, as well as 49 states and US territories represented as well. And then finally, 179 Fortune 500 companies are represented within the iMSM class profile alone. So this really just shows the variety of job titles, industries that you're going to have with your fellow students. You'll really be able to have those different opportunities to network with people across the globe that really have different experiences and are able to really broaden your scope and your perspective. A little bit more on the curriculum for the program. So as I mentioned before, it's 36 credit hours that you're completing with the iMSM. 24 of them are going to be the required core curriculum. So all of these courses listed are required for you to complete. And again, each of our courses at Gies Online are 4 credit hours. So that's why it's 24 credit hours total for the curriculum, for the core curriculum. And then you'll have 12 credit hours or 3 courses remaining for an elective path. So you'll see on this slide, there's a few different electives you can choose from. And then again, we do have that stackable nature in case if you wanted to start with a certificate, if you do start with one of our certificate programs, you would then be able to stack it into the program and it would go towards your elective path. And then again, we did mention you can also further stack the iMSM into the iMBA, and those 36 credit hours that you earn would fully stack into the iMBA. And this is just one more note. We do offer elective course pairings. So a lot of our students do want to have a specific kind of path that they can get guided on. We do have a few different ones that you can choose from. And I'll touch a little bit more on just degree planning guidance towards the end, but we do have a really great group of advisors that are able to assist with this degree planning as well. Melissa, do you want to touch a little bit on what courses you took or maybe what courses stood out to you at all? Anything that you want to touch on?
I ended up doing the strategic leadership and management specialization. So that organizational leadership and strategic leadership, those were topics that I was very much interested in based on my career needs. So that's what I focused on. I will say, I'll just make a plug for my favorite class, my favorite elective that surprised me. I took multiculturalism in marketing, and it kind of blew my mind. I wasn't sure what to expect, but the professor was so knowledgeable, and it was such an interesting body of information. I'm really glad I took it, and I lean on that body of knowledge I got from that class way more than I expected.
That's really great to hear. Wonderful. And actually a really great segue into this next slide that we had. So as Melissa mentioned, she did complete the strategic leadership and management focus. We do offer the ability to have embedded certificates within the program as well. So if maybe you're not interested in starting with a certificate, you want to get right into the iMSM program, you do have that option. You can earn up to 1 embedded certificate if you go that route. So you can either earn it in strategic leadership and management or global challenges in business. And then I will note, if you've already stacked a certificate into the iMSM, you wouldn't be eligible for an embedded certificate. But if you do stack into the iMSM, you do have a bit more variety for the courses, the certificates that you can choose that could stack into the program. If you decide to just go the iMSM route, you would only be able to earn an embedded certificate in one of the 2 that are listed on this slide. So just in case if you're interested in having that stackable nature, we do offer a lot of different options, even if you get started directly into the iMSM program. Okay, looking a little bit more on return on investment, which I'm sure is very important for all of you joining in today and looking into the iMSM program in general. So we do ask our graduating students just about their experience and specifically how satisfied they are with the program. So with that, you will see 43% of our students received a promotion, a job offer, or actually accepted a new position during the program. Gies iMSM students also tell us they earned an average raise of about 26% during and immediately after the degree. So this really just shows how quickly that ROI is visible with this degree. And then finally, 95% of iMSM graduates were able to directly apply what they've learned in the classroom to their current roles, bringing new strategies and highlights to their workplace. Okay, and then a super quick note, but a very common question that we get from our prospective learners is about that I that's in front of the iMSM. So the I that's in front of the iMBA, iMSM, or iMSA, or I degrees, This really just refers to the method of delivery. We do have an on-campus MSM degree, so it really helps us differentiate it on the university side. But the I or online is not going to appear on your transcript or your diploma. It'll look very similar to any diploma that you'll get from a residential degree, and it'll be from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. So the I or online will not show up in any of your transcripts or your degree certificate. Okay, moving a little bit more into networking for the program. So we really believe that networking is one of the key parts of our graduate degrees. We really are able to support it in two main ways, and I will mention everything listed on this slide is optional, so it's not required. As I mentioned before, it's a fully online degree. There's no in-person commitments, but we do offer the ability to have those in-person or virtual commitments if you're interested. So the first one is our college-led opportunities. We do have local iConnects just across the globe. These are basically very casual meetings that the Gies Online team hosts to let our current students and alumni mingle. So we actually just recently had one in the Chicago area. We're going to have another one towards the end of April, again in Chicago, I believe. And again, it's all over the world. So you will see just domestic as well as international iConnects that we host. You'll also see we have immersion opportunities. So these are actual week-long trips, either domestic or international, that we host where the Gies staff and team are able to travel with you, with your peers, and actually have you working on a real-life project with actual stakeholders and leaders within a global area. So you will see we have about usually 3 or 4 immersions that we host each year. And then again, we have in-person ones as well as hybrid or virtual ones. So if you would still like to have these immersive opportunities, but you wouldn't be able to travel, we understand again, it could be a really hard commitment to make to be able to travel for a week if you have work and life on your plate. So just being able to have the virtual ones is also an opportunity with Gies Online. And then finally, iConverge. So this is our annual 3-day networking and professional development event on campus each year. So it's hosted typically in September in Urbana-Champaign. It's a very, very nice time to come on campus if you're interested. And it's open to current students and alumni. So even years down the line, you can always come back to be able to stay connected with the Gies business community. And then moving on to student-led opportunities. So you will see group work is already built into the coursework for the classroom, the breakout sessions within your live sessions, group assignments, as well as those discussions. This is really going to be the base level of networking that you're going to get, even if you decide not to do anything else on this slide. But we do, again, offer those different opportunities if you're interested. So we have Gies Connect. This is a virtual hub. It's like an online community for our online learners and alumni. It really just helps you mingle with current students and alumni through that fully online platform. We also have student-led meetups. So this is very similar to our iConnects that the university hosts, but it's more students taking the initiative to stay pretty much connected with current students and alumni that are close to home. And then we also have the Ambassador Program. So the Ambassador Program is a great group of current students, just like Melissa, that are really here to help prospective learners through the process and be able to share their student experience a little bit more. So you'll see our ambassadors are really helpful. They make one-on-one connections with prospective learners. They join these live sessions to share their insights. And we have a lot of different ways to keep our ambassadors well connected with our prospective learners as well. And then finally, IGBA. So this is the Illinois Graduate Business Association, pretty much a student council for the program, and they really help you get connected with leadership and administrative teams at Gies. Melissa, have you done any of these networking opportunities since you've been in the program? It's okay if you haven't, but I would like to ask just in case if you have.
For the college-led ones, no. However, I have heard good things from other students who have either attended iConverge or signed up for an immersion. And so they sound very cool. Student-led, I will say Gies Connect has been great. It's basically a forum, but it's a forum where you can connect with people from your industry who have your interest. And I would say you get out of the student-led opportunities what you put in. So I have my handful of people that I've met throughout my journey here who I still keep in touch with. And, we periodically exchange messages or observations about what's happening in industry. And it's been really nice to be able to make those kinds of connections through the program, even not being in person.
That is very true. And I think that's the best part about our programs. It's really up to you. And what you said was spot on. It's really what you're getting out of it is what you put into it. So if you're looking to do a lot of networking, do a lot of the collaboration that's even beyond that virtual classroom, you definitely can. But again, if you feel like just having that base level of networking is enough for you, again, we understand life can be very hard with a graduate degree as well as balancing so many other things. So we really just want to make it as available and accessible to you. Okay, awesome. And then just touching a little bit more on the learner support for our online students. So as I mentioned, there is that very unique curriculum where you're able to choose the elective courses as well as your course order, the pacing of your courses as well. Our student and academic success team, our SAS team, they're going to be the best resource for anything that has to do with degree planning. So they really have a lot of great details around degree requirements, different policies for our programs, different courses. They also have very responsive degree planning options. So you can either choose express advising hours, there's open office hours, one-on-one appointments, and then email support as well. So really being able to utilize the SAS team, I would recommend using them as early as possible just because they have all the information about which courses maybe to pair with one another, which ones maybe to take alone sometimes. So really being able to connect with them. And then I would also mention our current students, they're also a really great resource for this as well. You will see, like Melissa mentioned, on Gies Connect, there's going to be a lot of students just plugging in which courses they've taken, which courses maybe they're interested in taking and want to have some experiences or learn a little bit more about. So just being as communicative with the Gies Online community, that's really going to be able to help you find what you're looking for out of the curriculum. And actually, Melissa, did you use the SAS team at all, or did you just degree plan all on your own?
The degree planning tool is really, really good. So I would say like 99%. I think I contacted them in the beginning when I was a bit confused about how to get started. But once I figured out how to use the degree planning tool, I think I changed my degree plan no fewer than 5 to 8 times. And it was very easy to do it on my own. I will say, like the email support and phone support in general from Gies is very responsive, like whether it's been tech support or general academic support, anything. It's easy to get a live human to tell you if you're in the right spot or not. And they actually email back in the time frame that they say they will. So even being remote, you feel very supported.
And also just having the person, the face-to-face kind of connections to being able to have the virtual meetings that you're having with the SAS team or even other learners, the iSupport team, that's really also very beneficial for our students. So again, I would highly recommend reaching out to the SAS team if you've been admitted, but you can choose to completely do your degree planning on your own terms as well. Okay, finally, touching a little bit more on career success. So Gies Online really attracts full-time professionals, again, typically with 10 to 12 years full-time professional work experience. Given this level of experience, career support isn't just about landing that very first job. It's more just about the career growth, the transitions, and unlocking new opportunities at any stage within your career. So we're also able to support that in a few different ways. We do have peer-to-peer connections. This is going to be the strongest professional career resource that you'll have within the program. It's going to be that very powerful network of professionals that you're able to engage with, whether that's in the group projects, the live sessions, the Gies Connect discussions, just any kind of virtual or in-person opportunities. They'll really be able to support you and have that magic kind of happen with the networking. And then again, I mentioned we also host a lot of networking opportunities just to foster these connections a little bit more, as well as the coursework kind of collaboration aspect. And then touching a little bit more on the alumni network. So we again have over 95,000 Gies Business alumni that you're going to have access to once you graduate from the program. But our alumni engagement team also really tries to keep our alumni super engaged with the current students in the program. You'll see they'll include a lot of different initiatives to keep our students engaged even after you finish the program well down the line. And then you'll see there's a couple of resources that we also offer to our learners. You will see, again, Gies Connect, I've mentioned this many times already, but that virtual hub, it's really able to give you an opportunity to ask questions, make connections, share your experiences, and be able to find the resources to help you during the program and afterwards. You'll also see Big Interview. This actually has training courses. It's pretty much hands-on practice with mock tailored interviews. It could be to your specific area of interest or your professional background. Really just helps you get prepared for that next job interview that you're looking for. There's Handshake as well. So all students at the University of Illinois will have access to Handshake. It is a campus recruiting platform that's more designed for residential or on-campus students, but all of our online students do have the full access as well. I will mention for Handshake, it might be more beneficial to use Gies Connect, LinkedIn, or other professional job boards, especially if you're an international learner. I do know Handshake is trying to add a bit more of those opportunities across the globe, but it can sometimes be a little bit more domestic focused. And then finally, VMOC. So this is a resume and career development tool. Really, it just uses AI to help enhance your resume, gives you a lot of feedback in terms of how to make your resume in the best kind of structure that you're looking for those next job opportunities. Melissa, have you used any of these at all? I know you're already well into your career, haven't probably looked for too much of a pivot now, but anything at all?
I'm really curious to try out VMOC. But no, of course, Geese Connect plenty, but the rest, the other three, no, haven't tried them out.
Gotcha. Well, again, it is available for our students. I'm pretty sure it's also available to alumni, but I'm not too sure about that. So if you do have questions, let me know. But all of our current students will have all of these resources up until graduation as well. Okay, so that was a lot of information that we shared about the program. I'm going to really quickly stop, make sure there's no questions in the chat. I know Jamie was answering all of the questions, providing all of the amazing links to our website. But really quickly, if there's no questions, I will go through our application process for the iMSM program. All right, and it doesn't look like we have any questions. Okay, awesome. So to quickly touch on the application requirements, the minimum requirement to apply to any of our master's degree programs is a bachelor's degree with a 3.0 GPA on a 4.0 scale or equivalent. You will see there's going to be a couple of things that are required within the online application. So there's going to be a resume, just a professional resume highlighting your work experience is all we're looking for. And we do ask that it is a maximum of 2 pages. We'll also have an academic history section. So unofficial transcripts are accepted during the application process. And then if you're admitted into the program, we then require that official transcripts be sent directly from your institution to the graduate college. So we actually don't need official transcripts once you're in the application process, only after you've been admitted into the program. And for international applicants, you will need to include your degree certificate as well as your transcripts in both the original language as well as English translations if applicable. You'll also see there's going to be an academic statement section. So a short essay of about 500 words or less is required, basically just on your interest within the program, how it's able to support your goals professionally, personally. Really, that's all we're looking for there. You'll also see there's going to be 4 short answer personal statements. The first 2 of those are required, and then the 3rd and 4th are optional. I would recommend if there's anything in that 3rd and 4th one that you think would be beneficial for the admissions committee to know, include that in there. But these 4 short answer statements, they're a maximum of 250 words each. And then again, the first 2 are required, the 3rd and 4th are optional, but definitely recommended. And then moving on, there's going to be 2 references required within the application. So our recommendation process is a little different than majority of our schools that you'll see for the MBA. We only need essentially we only need their name and their email address included within the application for you to be able to submit. Once you include their contact details, we send them a very short form through email that they're required to submit. They can choose to upload a letter of recommendation as well. That is optional, but the reference form that we send them, that is required. It should be a very, very short lift. It shouldn't be more than a couple short answer statement responses and some rating questions. And then again, they can choose to upload a letter of recommendation, but that isn't required. And I will also mention for the reference forms, you can give them, once you submit their contact information, we send that form and we actually give them a couple extra days after you submit your application to get that form back into us. So even if you submit your application right away and all of your references haven't submit, they will have a little bit of extra time to get that submitted into us for that consideration. And finally, for international students, English proficiency test scores are required by the graduate college unless you do meet one of the listed exemptions on their website. So they do currently have 3 different exemptions that if you do meet, you would not need to submit an EPT score. There is also a waiver essay option. So if you believe you should be exempt from submitting a test score, but maybe you don't meet the ones that are listed on the exemption page, you can choose to submit a waiver essay instead of the English proficiency test score. We will essentially just review the waiver essay to determine if you are eligible for an exemption, or we're going to ask that you still submit an English proficiency test score into us. So we'll be able to contact you if there is anything that's still missing within the application, or if you do need to provide any additional information. That's basically everything within the application. There is no GRE or GMAT test scores required. Actually, we do have a really interesting kind of pathway opportunity as well. So if maybe you're concerned that your profile might not meet the minimum requirements for direct admission, so like that 3.0 GPA requirement, we do have the performance-based admissions track, the PAT track, for all of our degree programs. So if you choose to apply and you're admitted through the PAT program for the iMSM, you would essentially take 3 iMSM courses that are required within the program. You would just take them one at a time and make sure to earn a B or higher in at least 2 courses with an overall GPA of a 3.0. After you complete those PAT courses, we determine if you successfully completed the PAT requirements, and if you have, you're automatically transferred over from a non-degree status to the full degree track to complete the remainder of the degree. So this opportunity is really great for, again, individuals that might not meet the minimum requirements for direct admission, but you have a very strong professional background to be able to make up for it. It's also a great option if maybe you do meet all the minimum requirements for direct admission, but you would rather just get started in a smaller kind of opportunity and not fully commit to the degree track, and then be able to do that once you finish the PAT program. So it's really up to you. I will mention though, if you don't meet the minimum requirements for direct admission, the PAT program would be the way to go for applying to our programs. And then finally, scholarships. I do want to touch a little bit on that as well. We do offer one scholarship for our iMSM applicants. We have the Coursera scholarship. This is actually available to all of our iDegree applicants. So iMBA, iMSM, and iMSA can apply for this. You would just need to apply by the priority 1 deadline for either fall or spring. So we only offer this scholarship for the fall and spring terms, and it's only going to cover 70% of your tuition if you're chosen. It is a limited number of scholarships that we offer in the fall and spring, but again, it's available to all of our iDegree applicants, and it would cover 70% of your tuition and fees if you're chosen for the scholarship. And then again, if you do want to apply for that scholarship, you would have to apply by the priority 1 deadline for either fall or spring. Currently, our priority 1 deadline for fall has already passed. So if you're looking for scholarship consideration, you would have to wait until our spring 27 applications open up. Okay, so moving on to what happens next after you submit an application in. Typically, after you submit an application, it takes our team about 2 to 3 weeks to do an initial review. We'll reach back out if there's any missing materials that are still needed for your application, or we're going to send either a decision or an invitation to interview. If you've been invited to interview, it typically takes 20 to 30 minutes at the most through Zoom. It'll be someone in recruiting and admissions, just like myself, or an actual alumni of the program. And it's a really great way just to be able to give us a chance to learn a little bit more about you, ask you some questions about your background, your interests within the program. And it's also a really great chance for you to be able to ask any last minute questions that you have about the degree. Again, it's someone in recruiting and admissions or an actual alumni of the program, so they will have all the answers if you do have any lingering questions before you get your decision. But essentially, after you complete that virtual interview, it typically takes our team about 1 to 2 weeks to send a decision through email. And Melissa, really quickly, I know we haven't heard from you for a second. Do you have any kind of advice or any comments about the application process, the admissions process? Do you remember anything about it? I know it could be a little bit since you've done all of this.
It was a little while, but I will say, personally, I was stressing about the references and wondering, how am I going to get the busy professionals in my life to write me a letter of recommendation? And I wish I had not asked for a letter of recommendation before realizing that all they needed to do was fill out the super easy form. So just don't make the mistake that I made. I think I did way more work than I needed to. to get that application. I feel like all the rest of the requirements, the amount of writing that you need to do, for example, it might seem like a lot, but it's actually not. It's not bad at all. And this was not a situation where I felt like I was trying to craft this super long expository essay over weeks and weeks. It took me beginning to end less than 10 days to get my application done.
And that's a really good point too. We're looking for an authentic response. We're not looking for something super long. So again, we have those maximum requirements for the essay as well as those short answer statements. Just be authentic, share a little bit more about you, and that's really all we're looking for. But wonderful. Thank you, Melissa. All right, so really quickly, I know we're coming to the end of today's session. I do want to mention we do have applications that are open for our fall 26 term. So if you are interested in applying to the iMSM program for either an August or October start, you can still do so. We do have the priority 2 deadline coming up on May 7th. So if you're interested in having some early application benefits, we do have that coming up very soon. I can actually share a little bit more on what really happens if you apply by that priority 2 deadline. So just keeping these deadlines on the slide for a few seconds in case you're looking to jot that down. And then I will go through just the priority deadline. So if you do apply by that May 7th deadline, you would have some early application benefits. There would be no application fee required. So it is a $90 application fee, both for our domestic and international applicants. But if you do apply by a priority deadline, that application fee is waived. So you wouldn't need to submit that in for the May 7th deadline. There's also priority course registration. There's early access to our Coursera account, as well as our Gies networking platform. So like Gies Connect, you would have earlier access to that if you do apply by the priority 2 deadline. If you can't make that deadline, we always have a final deadline for both the August and October term. If you do submit by the final deadline, you would receive full consideration for your desired start term. So I'll bring that slide back really quickly just so you see all of the deadlines that are coming up. And then I will bring it up to the very last slide that has all of our connections, how to get connected with our team, just so you can get your questions answered, essentially. All right, I will bring that over here. So basically, again, on the slide, you will see there's going to be all these different contact details. You can email us, you can give us a quick call, you can scan that QR code to get a one-on-one appointment. But really, I would highly recommend reaching out to us if you have any questions about the application process, the program, the curriculum, anything that you have questions on. We're here to support you. So please take a second, jot these down, and we hope to hear from you very, very soon. Otherwise, just thank you so much for sticking on for the full session, learning a little bit more about the iMSM program. And Melissa, thank you so much for just sharing your insights. You were honestly the expert, so just thank you so much for giving all this information for prospective learners. Do you have any final words of advice to share?
No, just pleasure talking with you all today. And if you're on the fence, I would recommend leaning on the side of reaching out versus not.
Yes, we're here to support you. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us. Otherwise, thank you so much for spending the time with us, and hopefully we'll hear from you very, very soon. Thank you so much. And thank you, Jamie, as well, for answering all of those questions in the chat. And thank you to everyone for joining in. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you.